Loneliness can make almost anyone look like destiny, but being tired of being alone is not the same thing as being ready for love. So tonight, live, we're asking that question and other real questions. That's why I read it. But I don't know. That would just be too easy. Okay, forget it.
I could hear you still.
Yeah, I'm sure. Because friends, do you ever just wonder why? Do you ever like this stuff be happening and you just like, but why?
But
I've
why?
only I've only played it 50 times today to make sure it was right. So why would it not?
Mm-hmm.
Why should it play when we actually go live? So that's
Right.
all. Hey, tonight is I'm testing out a name. We're gonna um we're gonna have a name, but y'all can help us come up with it. But tonight we're just calling it Love Unfiltered Live, where we answer questions people are thinking of but sometimes are afraid to ask. Welcome to Live, Love, and Marry Wiser. I am your host, Lorraine Edwards. We have seen so many relationships go over the edge that we have committed our voices to building better fences at the cliff. So we need fewer ambulances in the valley. And with me today to bring some of that fence building wisdom and fun is my co host, Onita.
Hey, Lorraine. Hey, y'all. Hey, happy to have you here. Share with your friends.
Share with your friends. Let us know in the chat that you're here. We are happy to have you. So, um, I'm just going to give you some context. On our live fourth Tuesday lives, we are actually live, not just in the chat with you, which has been really fun chatting with you all throughout the month on the episodes that we record and we post in advance. But we are going to be live on our fourth Tuesday of the month. And it's kind of more of a lighter episode. We have fun on every episode, but just talking a little bit about different topics, answering questions that we might have ourselves or that we have been asked. Or tonight, I'll share with you where I got some of the questions that we are going to talk about today. But you also can ask us questions. Drop some in the chat now if you have a question that you want us to tackle. Don't make it too heavy because fourth Tuesday is kind of our fun light episode. But if there's something that you do want us to talk about, also drop that, and we'll plan an episode for that uh, in the coming weeks.
Mm-hmm.
But today, I want to share that um, I'm in this Facebook group for single Christians, and it is called the Grown Ups Table. And one of the rules of the Grown Ups Table is that you can't, unless it's an introduction, like you just joined and you're just introducing yourself. If you post something, there's some things you just can't post political stuff or really religious stuff too much, even though it's a Christian thing. But if you post, you have to ask a question. It can't just be you just saying stuff. You have to ask a question of the community. So there's engagement. And sometimes those questions are just so forced just because you have to ask a question. It's just like, the sky is blue. What do you think about the sky? It's kind of like, I think the sky is blue as well. So, but there are actually a lot of good questions in there. And one of the a couple of the questions that we are going to talk about today came from that group. And it was really kind of an interesting question. So let's see who's in the chat with us today. Cassandra is on board. Avery's on board. Nice to see you all. Grab some more people and tell them to get on board, because we're excited about the conversation tonight. So, the first question we're going to start with is actually from our title. Are you ready for a relationship, or are you just lonely? And here's the question. Are you ready, Onita?
Eyes ready.
All right. And you all in the chat, you can answer what your thoughts are too. Here is the question. The question is, how do you personally distinguish between genuinely being ready for partnership and simply wanting relief from loneliness? And I actually think I got this question from the grown-ups table too. So
Mm-hmm.
I think 3 out of the 4 questions come from that. So what are your thoughts about that? I'm gonna leave the question up so anybody that joins us can know what we're talking about.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. First of all, this is good because some people think they're ready early on than others because to your point, they just want to have some. And it's funnier that this is even the question because I was talking to my oldest today who's in college, and one of her guy friends is saying he's finally going to tell this girl that he likes her. And of course, Taylor was kind of, cheesing him because she's like, "You've been saying that for months. You like the girl, you need to tell her. Like, what are you waiting for?" Um, and he even said, "I don't know. I don't think I was ready yet. I think I was still trying to play the field. I wasn't ready." And so I think it can mean two things: one for men and women, because I feel like a lot of times women we're ready to go already looking for somebody to be booed up with, especially when get days like Valentine's coming along or Christmas when people want to be snuggled up to somebody. But I think the distinguish between being ready for partnership and just wanting to be relief from loneliness is a person has to be really real with themselves and say, am I just trying to have somebody because I see everybody else doing it? Or is my worth system is what am I just thinking I gotta have somebody because one, people keep asking me when you gonna find somebody, why you always by yourself, why you keep coming to the
Mhm,
family with nobody, girl, when you gonna get married, boy, when you gonna
mhm,
settle down. If your goal is to just get somebody because you're tired of people answering those questions, then I don't think you're genuinely ready because
mhm,
you're not doing it for you, you're doing it to shut other people up basically. But when you're genuinely ready to be somebody's partner, and I'm glad you worded that way, partnership, not just boyfriend or girlfriend. That's on a different level. That means I'm ready to allow somebody, I want to walk in alignment with somebody. I want to be able to share my thoughts, my vulnerabilities, my ideas,
mhm,
my dreams with another person when I say I'm ready for partnership. Um,
mhm,
the things that frighten me, the things that excite me, I want to, that's a partnership. I want to be real and raw and be myself with this person. That's a partnership. If I'm just ready to be in a situationship, then you're not getting none of those parts. You're only getting high level and surface these things. You're gonna only see the pictures of me where I'm looking glamorous and filtered.
mhm.
That's situationship. You're not ready for partnership.
Uh-huh.
Partnership says we've been out several days now. I'm gonna stop ordering the salad. I'm getting that steak and potato because I'm hungry. Every time we leave, you drop me. Every time you drop me off after a date, I'm starving. I gotta run in here and eat a bowl of cereal. Partnership says I'm being really real, bruh. I'm hungry.
Uh-huh.
I'm look. I'm intermittent fasting. I got 18 more minutes to eat a real meal. I'm eating a real meal.
All righty then.
But yeah, that's the partnership says I'm really ready to. I'm ready to be with somebody that I'm going to be
Mhm.
myself with and share all of these things, the hopes, aspirations, dreams, fears, all those things. What are your thoughts about it?
I like that. I like that. That's a good start. That's a good start. Trina said not settling anymore equals being fed up with just being tired of being lonely. Um,
Mm,
and hey Tracy, how you doing? Nice to see you here.
y'all.
So my okay, Cassandra says, um, I agree. Am I ready to be open and vulnerable and for him to do the same? Yep. I love it.
Yeah.
Um, she's
Exactly, Trina. Exactly.
Y'all getting into the fun already. Okay, so I have a couple of things to say about this question. So I was writing notes. If y'all see me looking down, I'm just writing notes because I'm still working on training my memory um, to listen and remember what I was going to say. So right now I'm using a pen and pencil, pen and paper. But
Look, me too.
uh, so I think that oh, Tracy, the question, and for those who are just joining us now, the question on the table is, how do you personally distinguish between being genuinely ready for partnership and simply wanting relief from loneliness? That's the question that we're talking about right now. And I say, if you are looking for someone to fulfill your needs, just to fulfill your needs, and you're not thinking about what you are going to, and this is probably 95% of the people that I meet, so this is heavy. But you're
Mm-hmm.
not thinking about how you can be the best wife or the best partner to the other person. You're not thinking about making yourself the best that you can be, so that you're just thinking about someone fulfilling your needs. He's going to do this for me and he's going to do that for me, and I don't got to drive, I don't have to travel by myself, and I don't have to drive, and I don't have to, pay my own bills, and I don't have to, and I don't
Mm-hmm.
have to, and I don't have to. Then you're not ready. That means you're just trying to relieve your loneliness.
Mm-hmm.
And the reality is, that's most people. So, like, I
Mm-hmm.
know we said we're just light and fun. It's not all gonna be light and fun. As human as we go, we still got to bring some truth to the game. That's
Yes.
most people. Most people who are single and most people who are married, they married to
Mm-hmm.
fulfill their own needs, not to bring something to the table. And often that's why they, in situations that are like situationships, even though they're married, because you can get out of a situationship a little bit easier. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and so when we think, because we're always thinking from a godly Christian perspective, right? Biblical
Mm-hmm.
perspective, then our love is other centered. But when our desire is just to fulfill our needs right now, and like you were saying, I'm going to be on Facebook with the pictures and all that kind of stuff because that makes me feel like I'm missing out on something because everybody else is doing it. No, you're not ready for that. And then
Mm-hmm.
my second thing is, when you lower your standards, when you lower your standards just to be with someone because that
Mm-hmm.
person picked you, and you're just like, whoop, let me bring that standard down because he already done meet it, but you're trying to feel something in you again, and so you lower your standards. So those are
Yeah.
two those are two answers I could give. Let's see what else is going on in the chat.
Well, you came out with two box. You got some boxing gloves on for this light in every chat. He
uh,
said, "How you gonna win when you ain't right within?"
who said that? Is that in the chat?
Lauren Hill. That's Lauren Hill.
Ready for you to help me take my braids out.
Girl, like, come on, let's talk about it. That's some love right there. That's some love. That's some
Seriously,
love.
what can we do to make each other better, and what can do to for the kingdom business? Yep, yep.
Amen.
Am I ready to not be selfish? Feelings, Cassandra said, and feelings often drive our choices. Yes, they do.
So
Yes, they
true.
do.
So true.
Okay, do you have anything else to say about that? Because I can go to the next. We got we got some good questions.
Good ones. But I said that is so good too, T, that you said that because even right now, we're going through Garden Within, and she talks about the emotions come first. We always think we oh, I'm so logical, and I thought it knows your feelings. You got it caught up in your feelings, and logic went all out the window.
Mm-hmm.
This is
Mm-hmm.
why even now I talk to, I mean, my oldest were talking, and my two younger daughters too. I was talking about you got to be even careful even to hold a guy's hand because of the electricity from that. When you're already lonely and the
Mm-hmm.
brother holds your hand, And then even a hug, because hugs can bring, make you feel very close to a person. And God forbid you kiss them. I said, so now you feeling obligated. You got to call them back. You can't ghost them because you didn't got all caught up in there. So our emotions
Yeah.
and
Keep
feelings,
the lips to yourself. Keep the lips to
okay. And the further you go, the harder it is to let go.
yourself. But you, she a poet today. I'm like, I love it. I love it. I love it. Tracy said a good question to consider, especially for Christians, is will this person help me get to heaven, and how will I help them get to heaven? All right.
Oh,
I
that is
love
very good. Very good.
right.
And Pastor Leggett, I think when we had the episode, we record. Did we already show it? I can't remember.
Yeah.
Pastor Leggett
That was
talked
last
about that.
week.
Oh yeah, we did last week, and I had a coaching session. One of my first male. He's a young male coaching sessions. Got to do relationship coaching, and I basically told him because he has a girlfriend and trying to decide to stay together or not because she's trying to force his hand in marriage, and he wants to wait until he has the career and be such and such. But there's some other issues happening, and I said, in the words of Pastor Leggett, is this a person that if this is who they are right now, you're willing to say the way she's showing up right now, I'm willing to live with this for the rest of my life.
Mm-hmm.
Are
Mm-hmm.
you? I was like, are you willing to stick with that? And I said, remember, in picking this person, it's also going to impact your salvation. Your
Mm-hmm.
walk of sanctification will be impacted by the person you choose to be in partnership with. So,
Absolutely.
so take that into consideration as you're making your choice. So I get to follow back up with him because I gave him a homework assignment. Let's see what he did.
All
He hard
right.
headed. He hard headed.
I love it. I love it. I don't know why you come to coaching if you're gonna be hard headed. Like, what's the point? You just want to throw. Let me just throw some money. Let me just
I'm
throw some
sorry at
money away. If you want to
Okay,
throw money away, you throw it over here. But I'm like,
exactly.
what in the world? But I'm sure Onita's like, if you want to throw your money away, you can keep throwing it over here.
I'll
But
take it.
it can be frustrating. It can be challenging for a coach or even just a friend when it's just like constant, and you just like you literally just gonna do the opposite of everything. I'm gonna start saying do bad stuff so that maybe you do some good stuff. So I'm
That's
just like,
it.
if you just gonna do the opposite of what I say, then maybe I
That's
need to
it.
change my tactic. Because what in the
That's
world?
it.
I did change my tactic. Stop giving people advice. And I mean, if you pay me, that's different. But just random, I'm
Hmm.
like, nah, thanks.
Yeah, we're family, and
Okay.
you get 3 times. I'll give you the advice 3 times, and
I
then I'm
know
no longer
most of
doing
my
it.
people had way more than three tries. So like, I'm older than you, girl. I've been doing this since I was a teenager. People have way more than three tries. So I'm just like, please. Um, okay, here is question number two. Question number two. Um, okay, here it goes. I met a couple last week who were celebrating their 54th anniversary. This is fun. When I asked
Oh,
them for the secret, and this is not me talking, this is the question that I got off the grown ups table, but I
okay.
actually did meet when I went to, let me finish this first and I'll say that. I met a couple last week who were celebrating their 54th anniversary. When I asked them for their secret, their response was forgiveness and secret. What secrets have you learned or heard from couples for a successful marriage?
Hmm. I don't think she meant to say forgiveness. She might just meant
Mhm.
forgiveness.
Right.
Whoever
But
posted that.
maybe keeping their stuff secret, that might be, but
Oh, that could be too.
I'm not going to interpret that. I'm just going to leave it as they asked it because I just copied and pasted it. So,
Yes.
what secrets have you learned or heard from couples for a successful marriage? So,
Yes.
before you answer, I'm going to say when I went to Maranatha last week or the week, last weekend, they had a Friday night program that was about marriage, and
Hmm.
there were three couples who spoke who shared like a little bit of their testimony, and they had been married 50, 56, 57, and 58 years.
Wow.
Yeah, and their stories were amazing, amazing. And so they shared some good stuff. But what have you, Onita? I'm sure you do this. You've done this because you're the kind of person who would, seek out that kind of advice from people,
Hmm.
or even learn from people who might have maybe done it wrong, what not to do. But like, what secrets have you learned or heard from other couples for a successful marriage?
That first of all, that is so true because one, even as growing up, like I like to learn from other people's mistake. I didn't want to have to do it, so I watched. And my mama said, "You see what so so did? Don't you do that?" And I took it as law. I'm like, "Yep, I ain't gonna do it." So I did learn a lot from other people too. So many things. I know some people are commenting in the chat too, but I would say that forgiveness is a big one because you and I would even say forgive fast. I've learned to forgive fast now too because you don't realize how when the Bible says don't let the sun go down in your anger. It is a real deal thing because if you go to sleep with that thing festering the first night, you look up and it's 37 nights later and y'all doing silent treatment or you're not talking or what was a minor offense becomes so much
Mm,
larger. And the enemy loves to infiltrate and plant
Ooh,
seeds of doubt
wow, I love
during
that
that time when you are letting this thing fester and you're not resolving it.
one.
So you're now in your head, and women, we always think you got your argument all planned out. You're analyzing, you're thinking about every single thing. This man just at work. That's all he doing. He's just trying to work, get through the day, deal with these people, and come home. You've been all day ruminating over this
Mhm,
thing, and it's
mhm,
becoming bigger and bigger. And what's happening is this little, small little crack or offense now becomes a huge Grand Canyon in your
mhm,
marriage where you both on two opposite sides and you can no longer get back to where you were.
mhm.
And I believe it's repairable if both people want to, but I've seen marriages completely dissolve and people say, "Oh, he must have cheated." And nope, it was no this big,
Yeah,
dramatic offense. It
yeah,
was small offenses never being resolved
some
and
dumb stuff.
forgiven because sometimes we still may just not see eye to eye on it. But if and during the argument, if you yelled or you hurt my feelings or whatever, one being honest and saying that hurt my feelings, and then the person saying, "Hey, I apologize for that." Forgiveness goes a long way. Being heard, so Cassandra said, communicate and over communicate. Because again, sometimes we're our worstest critics. And so we're sometimes thinking horrible stuff or maybe thinking the person is thinking something way farther than what they are thinking.
Mhm, mhm.
I've done that. I've made a lot of assumptions. I'm a husband, like, I'm not even thinking about you right now. I'm thinking about ABC. Like, he came in frustrated, and I'm like, oh, he's still mad about yesterday, but I ain't got time. No, he wasn't even there. But then sometimes, too, they can verbalize hurtful things. So let's keep it a stack.
Uh-huh.
They
Yeah.
can verbalize hurtful things. And then I've learned this recently from another guy therapist. He said, look at don't look at what they did, look at their intention, because sometimes unfortunately we all don't have the same skills of communicating how I feel, right? So
Mhm,
sometimes unfortunately the people we love the most we may come out with the harshest.
mhm,
So my friend Dolores says, she says, eat the meat, spit out the bone,
mhm,
because we got to pull from what the person really was trying to communicate
mhm.
and get what they really was trying to say, and but remembering that this person is a person that says they love you, like what's really at the bottom of this. But and so you can get down to the nitty gritty. Is it really that they really are just so angry at you, they're mad at you, they hate you, or is it they're hurt too?
Mhm.
And this is unfortunately they just didn't have the proper way of saying it. So
Right.
getting to, but I would say that forgiveness is a good one. Over communicating to get it out so that there's no assumptions made, and also so that you're able to speak life into your situation, into your marriage, and not let the enemy cause you to let it just start to slowly die because you both are not saying the things that need to be said.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
so you can resolve the things.
No, I love all of that. And I think that's important. I said, I did a like presentation for a marriage group a couple
Mhm.
years ago, and one of the things that we talked about is assuming the best intentions, because if you start off in your marriage assuming that your spouse has bad intentions towards you, I just don't know where you go from there. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like,
yeah.
I mean, if you can't even start off there, because then it does help you to filter some of the things, particularly as you get to know someone. Um, you know, when you're just first married, you're two different people. It doesn't even matter how long you've dated because now you're living together. There's so many
Mm-hmm.
little things that you can't even imagine to think about or talk about before you get married. Like you just have a
Yes.
whole life. You don't, there are things you don't even know about yourself until you actually rub up against another person who thinks differently.
Mm-hmm.
And you're just like, oh, you only assume that everyone thinks the way you think because that's how you think, you know?
Mm-hmm.
No one's like,
Yeah.
I think this, and I'm totally wrong about that. When
Yeah.
you think something, you think you're right. When you grew up a certain way, you think you're right. Now, I'm not talking about bad stuff. I'm just saying, but even bad stuff, like even bad stuff can seem right
Mm-hmm.
because that's the environment you grew up in. But we're talking about like healthy people, people who have like really tried to um, work through their stuff. We're not talking about toxic situations because I mean, you can make it for 54 years, but you just bleeding all over each other for the whole 54. So we're not talking about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do want to throw in this. I want to, Trina said, date night weekly, not a big expensive deal. Don't fight in front of the kids. Forgiveness, what
Mm-hmm.
needed to get that person, keep it up and keep God first. And
Mm-hmm.
I think
All
those are,
good.
I think those are good. But what I will say, this just came into my mind when I saw that. I think date night is really, really important, but I also think it could be a mask for your marriage still being in the toilet. So,
Preach it. Preach it. Preach it. No, no, real talk, true life confession. Oh, we're going
okay,
to date night, but we won't speak to each other all day.
right, or all week,
All week. But it's Saturday. We committed to going on this date.
right.
And if you have the type he's used to doing a grand gesture to try to get back, he don't want to say he's sorry, but
Mhm,
I'll go ahead and spend this money, do a grand gesture.
mhm,
Then yeah, some things do be masked, but that's
mhm.
that's real.
So we want to use that effectively to be actually connecting with each other,
Yeah.
talking. And sometimes date night can't be fun. Sometimes date night has to be talking through the stuff that we didn't talk about for the whole week. So
Yes.
it would be better to talk about it during the week so that you can actually have fun on your date night because you don't want to get
Yes.
all dressed up or do whatever that thing is. But and I want to push back a little tiny bit, not a lot, Trina, but a little tiny bit, because sometimes I don't think you, well, first of all, I don't think you should fight at all.
Yeah,
Because
I
I
was going to
think
address that
we should
too.
start to make that a norm. But I think
Yes.
sometimes if you disagree, it's help if you do it in a healthy way, it's actually good for your kids to see because
Yeah.
then you have to resolve it in front of them too. They have to
Yes.
know that there's a way to actually address conflict. And but
Hmm.
I'm like, no knockdown drag outs, and then obviously there's certain things that are completely inappropriate to talk about in front of your kids. So yeah,
Hmm.
we agree with you. So here's my
Renee,
thing.
one quick thing I wanted to add to that too. I totally agree with
Okay.
that because growing up, depending on your household, growing up, I had one friend who said her parents never argued and never disagreed in front of her. Never, right?
Mhm.
But she said when she got married, she thought, holy cow, I'm failing because my husband and I always disagreeing. I was like, girl, you're from, he's from Mars and you're from Venus. You're going to disagree. I mean, totally different worlds, culturally too and everything. And she was like, finally, years later, because she never wanted to call home and vent to her mom about it because she just thought, man, my mom's going to be like, you're right.
Mhm.
I was right. You're failing at this. And her mom said, oh, no, we argued a lot. I just did it in the room because her parents never argued in front of them. She's like, your dad and I argue all the time. She was like, but mom, you never showed, like, we never. So because of that, though, she didn't learn conflict resolution. That's the
Yeah.
point you're making. She didn't learn that. And even when we were going to get Taylor dedicated as a baby, the pastor set us down and he talked about, he said, disagree. Like you said, no, not the fuss and cussing that I grew up seeing. It was
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, and they said Peter, was, I think the women in my family were all had the Peter gene. So not that type of disagreement, but to your point, where we can disagree and we can resolve it. And they've gotten to see what my kids have gotten to see because as I still constantly pray God have me be a submissive wife. is me to even say words like, you know what, I don't agree, babes, but we'll try it your way. Even seeing that to where they recognize
Mm-hmm.
she doesn't agree, but we're gonna try it his way and see what happens. And a lot
Mm-hmm.
of times, y'all, especially when it comes to directions driving, I'm always right, but hey, I let us get lost, and then I don't say I told you
Yeah,
so.
it's not the end of the world, and
Yeah,
you also have taught a lesson to him and you, but and them.
yes,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
um,
yeah, definitely.
so there's a lot of good stuff in the chat. So let me follow up on that. And I love all this, and I love this. What you did to get that person, keep it up.
Yes,
My goodness, yeah, and keep God first.
yeah, because we get
Uh,
complacent, bro. We get complacent.
Yep. Let's see. Cassandra said, also heard think the best of your spouse. Yep. So that there won't be any self fulfilling prophecy.
Ooh, that's good,
Love
sis.
that. Love that. Compliment them before anyone else does. Ooh.
Ooh, yes, love that.
Trina
Listen, that's
said,
why a lot of adult hookups happen at work because they getting complimented all the time at work.
mm-hmm. Date
Hmm.
nights, also check-ins. There's a let's see,
That's good, Trina.
what is this at? Marriage retreat just said every day do at least a 20-minute no screen time. Yeah, I say an hour, but 20 minutes is a good start. I
Yes.
just think if you there is a problem if you can't spend an hour a day with someone that you committed your whole life to. Like,
Yeah.
because almost all of us spend an hour a day. And of course, both people have to be participating. You might be like, I got an hour for you, but the other person be like, I'm good or whatever. That's a
Hmm.
problem.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't even understand what the point of being married. Like, I just really don't. Like,
Are we roommates?
I mean, if I'm just because I'm by myself now, if I'm gonna still be by myself, then I just don't even like forget that. I mean,
Yeah.
the money would be good, but but I'm like, but I mean, other than the sex probably too. But I'm like,
Mhm.
but if you're not spending any time together, then even that is just kind of
Yeah.
mechanical.
Yeah.
So I think that uh, um, the conversation curator said she doesn't think you should date night should be for having difficult convos. They should be special and about connecting. We agree, but if you're not connecting all week long, then it just seems like it masks the issue. So we agree. We're saying
Mhm.
make those check-ins and those repairs before you get to date night so you can actually have a good time. But to each his own, because this is about, what your thoughts are. Let's
Yeah.
see. I've also oh yeah, I don't yeah, don't I definitely don't think you should be talking about bills and stuff on your like that's definitely not no
Because it's not
kids,
a date
no
night.
yeah, that's not that's your life. Like I don't like it. Like we don't,
Right.
no, that's I definitely don't. Yeah. So she said complacency. Yep. 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 That's
Let's
kind of
talk
what you're
about it.
60
Not
pairs.
dressing up at all.
Yeah, maybe not. Maybe just 55 is good. Maybe 52, one a week, one a week, one a week.
Sis, I need you to trade in one of those yoga pants for a bodycon dress. Remember, who's Pastor
No,
Bolger was saying, get your
I like
bodycon
this.
dress.
I like this. I like this. No work. I don't even need to answer. No work
Oh, that's
spouses.
right.
Yeah, no work spouses. Even though I was someone's work wife, but it was different. But yeah, I agree with that. No work spouses.
Hmm.
And let's see what else we got. Yeah, not talking about masking. So we're on the same. Okay,
Yeah.
so I said, there is I can't remember the actual statistic, but um people who are studying, I think it's the Gottmans. They said that most conflict in marriage really cannot be resolved. It just has to be managed. And you just have to agree that there are things that we are just not going to agree on. So we got to figure out. Oh, okay. Wow, that's quite a reduction there. She says she only got 6 now. Mercy.
Oh, okay,
Good gracious,
sis.
girl. Where my clothes at, by the way? But
I
anyway,
mean,
so when you think about it, there are things that you're never going to be on the same page with, but it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't mean that you have to be in conflict about it all the time. You just have to learn how to manage that. And then the
Mm-hmm.
things that can be resolved, then, resolve that.
Resolve them. Yeah, the
And
Freedmen say that too. They said sometimes in marriages, it's really the same argument over and over. Sometimes it's really the same argument
yeah.
came up a different way. And I literally, when they said that day, I thought about it. I was like, oh my God, you're
Yeah.
right. It's
Yeah.
really, yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
That's
Hmm.
crazy. Okay. All right. Here's the next question. Y'all ready for the next question? Y'all got into that one. I love it. I love it. Um, okay. Which one do I want to do first? Let's see. Okay, I'm gonna do this fun one. So I was watching the Secret to Success. This is like a short version, so I'll tell you the story. I was watching to the Secret to Success podcast, which is ET and CJ and all, just four men. And so this is from a man's perspective. And a guy wrote in to ask them this question. Him and his wife have been married, I think, about 13 years. They were high school sweethearts. They know each other, love each other, have a great marriage, all of that. But then one day, recently, she went and got her hair cut and did not say anything to him. She just came home and her hair was cut, and apparently it's short. So
Hmm.
I think she had the flowy locks, and now she cut her hair. So he wrote in to ask them, and they have this thing called fair or foul. Like, was that
Hmm.
fair for that person or foul, whatever the situation is. And he wrote in to say he felt a way. He he felt a way. He didn't say exactly what that way was, but the fact that he wrote in meant he felt a way.
Oh,
And
yes, he
so
did.
they were asking, like, each husband, like, would you feel away? Or is it okay for her to cut her hair without talking to you about it?
Hmm.
Or is it not okay for her? What say you in the chat? What say you,
Mm.
Onita, who just changed her hair while her husband was in South Dakota?
And did.
And did.
I will tell you, we've had this conversation,
Oh, I
and
love it.
we've had this conversation, and it's funny because a couple of women the last time I was at 2 Saturdays ago, I was at church, talked about it again, and
Mhm.
a couple of wives were like, "Girl, my man wouldn't care," and a couple of wives was like, "Oh, mine would care," and it was interesting. And I think it's about preference on the man, like if
Mhm.
it's a thing to him or not. If one of his pull to you was that he loved your hair, like if that was like that's his, that was sexy for him, you can have the conversation. But we've had this conversation in my home because I've had I go through different
Yeah.
stages.
He's like, we can't even keep up with that.
Really keep up with it. I mean, it is what it is. But one thing I do know, because my husband has verbalized it, even though when I had my short hair, dude, people's like, "Oh, you got the Halle Berry style." I mean, I was pregnant, and I don't know if he was just more sensitive. Like, you know what? Let her do what she need to do. Because first of all, it was hot, and I ain't about to have time for that. So I went through
Mhm.
it. But see, he's also had to hear me vent in that middle in between stage where you're trying to grow her back, so you're shaved in the back.
Mhm.
He's had to listen to all of that. Oh my gosh, I'm tired of over it. So I talked about because perimenopause make you do crazy things. I was fixing to shave before I came with this. I was about to shave my whole head.
Okay.
Okay, but then I remembered, and I think I told another friend, my hairstylist was like, "Girl, your head's too big for this, and you got this lump on the side, so we're not doing it." Friend, she's like, "Friend, we're not gonna do it." But we had a conversation because my husband's whole thing was, how far are you shaving it? Like, how much are you cutting? Because he's just very clear, y'all. If you've been with us a while, y'all know my husband don't hold back. He flat out said, "Oh, we walking up behind you think it's a dude because I got it so shaved in the back." And I was talking about going that low again, kind of doing a mohawk type style, and he was like, "No, I think it's just gonna look too much like a dude. I really don't want to." And then he still said, "But whatever you feel like you want to do, go ahead." Just me hearing that he's feeling like he thinks
Yeah.
I was like kind of do this. I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna do it. I'm glad I didn't because I wouldn't be able to get this on my head today. But there are some people that are, there are some men who are like, no, don't do it, period. They not trying to hear it. Um, yeah, that's good, Trina. You did in the beginning, so he knew what he signed up for. Um, but I think still, when you're making a drastic decision like that, even if she just said on her way to shop, "Hey, babe, I'm deciding I'm cutting my hair," like
Mhm.
forewarn him,
Yeah.
and then even ask him. Like he wrote in, "Sir, if you feel some type of way, did you express it to her?" And ask your girl, like, what, you know, what did it mean to you? Why is it such a big deal what she did with her hair? And again, that sister may be going through perimenopause. She tired of waking up sweating and dealing with all that hair every night. Whatever the
I think
situation
they're
is.
still young.
Oh, they're still young. Okay.
Yeah, because I think that they're probably still like. I mean, you can go through perimenopause pretty much at any time. It
Mhm.
seems like, but I think she's probably. I think they're like in their probably late 20s, early 30 type thing.
Yeah, yeah,
Um. So yeah, I hear you. Cassandra says I think it's fair. I think his concern should be if she's okay or what was the reason. Let me lean in and ask. Not I don't like it. I would give my husband a heads up, but not asking for permission. And that
yeah,
was a big thing too, because you know the guys, even the guys who were like, well, CJ was just like, we're not saying asking for permission because that's not a thing. It is a
yeah.
thing in some households. It's not a thing in any
Hmm.
of their households. Like, but I don't think you need to ask your husband permission for that. um However, some people might think, and I'm not mad about that either, if they're just like,
Hmm.
in the sense of, I guess it's like, mother may I kind of thing versus, hey babe, would you have a problem if I XYZ? And
Yeah,
I guess I think that the way you frame it is really kind of, is it partnership or is it kind of subjugation?
yeah,
So then they call the wives because ET was just like, I mean, I don't care. She, I mean, she can do whatever, she wants to do with her hair. Um, and he said, but he also said she never does. I mean, she always tells me what she's going to do when she goes to the hairdresser because he's the one who takes her.
yeah,
But he's like, but she never asked me. And then then they called the wives and asked each one of them, what they think about, what the woman did. And three of the wives were just like, nah, she should have at least run it past him. Didi was just like, she do whatever she want with her hair. It's her hair, you
I
know.
would say Didi about that life, okay?
Yeah, she really is. And but I think that if you if you know, so like my husband, if he sees 10 pictures of me, there's a different hairstyle in every picture. So he already knows like he's getting. So like
Yeah.
that can happen at any point. But if you've always had long hair, say for instance, and then you
Hmm.
just come and it's like, you know, this, or even just, I do feel like it's just a courtesy to be like, hey, I'm thinking about, cutting my hair. What do you think about that? And even
Yeah.
showing styles, Um, I had a friend who her hair was really long and thick and beautiful. And I mean, but she was living hair in Florida. And I mean, as hot as, you know,
Right.
it's hot. Let me just say that it's hot. And she got older or whatever. When they met, she was in college and stuff like that. They were in college, and she cut her hair like a bob. It was
Hmm.
beautiful. But she said her husband, who coincidentally is not her husband anymore, um she said he, because he used to like run his hands through her hair, touch her hair, all that. She's like, he wouldn't even touch her hair
Mm.
until it grew. It never grew all the way back. I don't know. I think she might have, but, and I'm just like, nah, you just trifling for real. Like that's
Hmm.
just immature.
Immature, and also she messed up his porn star dreams because obviously his man,
Right.
you're only sexy if you have XYZ. And when she cut it,
Right.
he
Right.
couldn't cope. He couldn't deal.
Yeah. I know. I didn't. I thought that was, and he. I mean, he was a friend of mine or whatever. But I just thought that was so crazy. On the flip side, I've seen videos of men cutting their beards off and their wives be losing it. It could
Yes.
also be about attraction. Maybe the person who has a problem with it is concerned if they would. We got a part two here. Would still be attractive to them, which is a concern for me. So
That's true.
yeah,
That's
I mean,
true. 'Cause you,
that's kind of like with the other thing we said about like keeping up the stuff that you used to do,
hmm
but and it doesn't mean you can never change anything because that I mean we grow up, we mature, things change. So yeah.
Yeah, but
What
especially if somebody's dating a guy, because for some women that's on their list, the guy with the beard, especially during, I don't know, I think it feel like it got real popular more during the pandemic, of course, because people can go get the haircuts. Like I had never seen so many beard treatment kits in this pharmacy. First of all, it was never a thing. But those guys are serious, getting it lined up, getting it sprayed to fill in the spot. And so if that girl was attracted to you, that beard was what first brought you in, and then you go shave that, brother. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. Ebony has stated that that's stupid. I think she's talking about the bear thing and people losing it. I don't know, but
Yes.
but especially because the beard can grow back. I mean, pretty quickly. Now,
Yeah.
what I like. So speaking about this beard situation, I like men if it's close, or I prefer like a mustache and a goatee. That's like my preferred with a bald head. You okay? Yes, I'll marry you. Okay, so but but if you have a close thing and then you start doing this bush stuff, girl, if
And it's
I
raggedy.
I don't even care if it's neat. If I don't hate that, I hate it. Like I promise you, I hate it so much. And so I'll be like, bruh, no, we're not. That's a trend over there, but in our house, that's not a trend. Like in our
Because you're
house,
smoking my face out.
that's a no nookie. So you you gotta figure out this is our fun and light conference, right? That's you gotta figure that out because I do not like that at all. Like I
hmm
do not like that at all. So I can understand like when you talk about the hair thing. So like let's talk before we make those
Yeah.
kind of big decisions. All right, final question. You ready? Okay, so this is the shorthand, but I'll tell you the story. This was a question in the grown-ups table. Woman, she started dating this guy. They've been dating for about a month. He's amazing guy, all the traits that think you would want that you want. And this stuff that she said was really good stuff. And she's really excited about where it can go. However,
Ding, 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 ding.
he has a business, and he had a successful business, but I don't know how long it's been, but in the last recent time, his mother got sick. And so he had to start taking care of his mother. And so he is literally taking care of her, not like he hired someone to, like she's at the house. I'm sure he probably has help, but he's literally taking care of his mother and he's not getting any help from his siblings. So his business, and I feel like it could be like a coaching bit, like some type of business where like he has to be,
Involved.
involved, you
Yeah.
know. And so his money is kind of funny right now. And so her money isn't funny. She has a good job. And so her question, which she never really asked a question, she just kind of was like, well, what do you all think? And I'm just like, that's not a real question. The question you want to ask is, am I going to have to take care of this man if we stay in this relationship? But she never asked that question. But she has some reservations because of his money, even though he did tell her he's like rebranding and trying to like get back, build his business back up.
Hmm.
He has not asked her for money, and I told her, don't give him no money, like
Hmm.
not a dime. Don't give him a dime. However, what are your thoughts about that? Should she wait? Should she continue on this great relationship? What should she do, Onita? What are your thoughts?
My first thoughts are friend zone him, sis. Like friend zone him. Because when I first
Oh,
read the question, no, but when I first read the question, I'm just like, because Lorraine, I have family members that fall for all kind of stuff. Also, I've just seen stuff recently, even online and watching, what do they call it? Something
oh.
conversations that where people are being run amok and bamboozled. They're thinking
Mhm,
the guy never brings me to his house because he says, his mama there or da da da. Couldn't find out the man married. That's why he never brought her over. So one, have you verified there is a sick mother and he's taking care of her? Do we really know that for certain?
I think she has verified that. I think that
Okay,
that's
so
a
she's
she's
verified that.
actually
Okay.
very. I mean, that's actually one of the things that she loves about him, that he
Hmm.
actually took on that responsibility. His siblings are like not helping him, that he actually is doing that. So that
Doing it
is a,
all.
yeah.
Okay, so the reality is, I will say this, and sometimes you're further in on a relationship when when most people would think this or they're already married. Money can come and money can go.
Mm,
If the man, I hear you, your girl said that. She said it, not me. It wasn't even me this time. Okay. Um, Money can come, money can go. But if this man has all the core values that she's
mhm,
looking for in a partner, then I would say maybe stick around. Maybe just stick around while he's rebuilding and rebranding. Take things slow.
mhm.
Keep his stuff in his pants. You keep yours in your pants. Y'all keep each other holy.
We Christian. We Christian.
Keep each other holy. Don't do
Yes,
none of the married
yes,
people stuff.
yeah, yeah,
And to your point, yeah, don't give him no money while he's rebranding or rebuilding because a man with no vision and no fight to make it on his own will not be a good husband for you, anyways.
right.
Especially,
If we weren't
she's
around,
already,
he would have to figure it out. So
right.
let him
She's
figure it
already high functioning boss lady in her own world. He needs to be able to do that because she don't need to lower her standards anyway. But if character wise and values, this guy seems to be the one what she's been waiting for, then I would say wait it out. Like just but take things slow and be openly communicate what her expectations are of him in that time frame. If I don't think she's one of those sisters who will get an attitude if he took her to Cheesecake Factory because you got some of them out there.
out.
They want
Yeah.
to go Ruth Chris every time. Y'all
Mhm.
been dating a month, and so that means she has to be open to date nights
She
being
like a
at the
sister.
park.
She a sister once removed.
Okay. So she maybe that explains a lot. Sister probably been already out in 2 days. I'm sorry. But anyway. But that means date nights may be more creative. It may be at the park and he's made them a nice
Mhm.
picnic basket versus spending at some restaurant or something all the
Right.
time. And the more serious it is, she may then decide to pay for a date or something later on when he's put
Mhm.
time in. But you can't put a price tag on character and values. That money can come later. It's just that how long is she willing to wait until he gets to that point?
Yeah.
Definitely wouldn't rush into being like solely his because there may be another one that comes along that got the character and the job. Who knows? But she needs to be realistic and ask questions of what his expectations are. If his mother never recovers from this and his siblings never help, and if he desires to have a future with her, what is his expectations of her if they got together in that
Mhm.
way? And how does he see her, where would she stand in this?
Yeah.
Will she ever be number one in
Yeah.
his life, or will it always be mama? And is
Mhm.
he also going to help her now to share the load and all those things?
Right. No, I love that. I love that. Anybody in the chat got okay? So Trina says, but it is honorable that he's taking care of his mother. Yes, but also find other resources so he can maintain and not be so hands on.
Yeah, so,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
But
Because sometimes
but
he.
the reality is, and I know, there's probably somebody in the chat who's experienced this.
Hmm.
Even with those care, those places that you find care, whatever, it's still it's still not as easy as it seems to just find someone to take care of to like really take care of your child or your parent the way
Hmm.
that you would want them to. Obviously no one's going to be you, but but
Hmm.
I do think that he is trying to do that and moving in that direction and just trying to build his business or whatever. But I agree with you, it's only been a month, so I don't even think it's time to ask him that question. But I
Yeah,
don't even think she's ready. I don't even think she knows the question that she wants to ask.
that
She
makes sense.
she wanted the opinion of, because I think the question that you want to ask is, right now I make more money than you. If we were to get married, what would that look like in our marriage? Or would you be willing to be even married before you not necessarily make more than her, but like are more stable
Hmm.
financially? And
Hmm.
in a month, now Pastor Leggett would say, yeah, ask that. But most people aren't ready to ask. Most people aren't ready to ask that in a month. And I said, you need to you need to figure out um, what it is that you really want to know,
Hmm.
because some people don't care if they make more money than their husband. Some people don't care. Like, are you asking about just the money? Are you asking, like you said, which I think is a fantastic point, like, what is my role if we were to get married? How, like, what level of responsibility? I think if you're marrying someone, you should be responsible for helping to take care of their parent if that's what they're
Hmm.
doing. But you may
Hmm.
not be the kind. I'm not the kind of person to be, like changing anybody's, diapers or whatever. American and Day are pretty much it for me. Like, I don't think I've changed one since then, and even that
Hmm.
kind of got kind of rough.
And
And
listen,
so
an adult diaper change is a whole nother thing. Woo.
they about to be 22, and I'm like, I don't think I've changed the diaper since then. Um,
Hmm.
but I think that so because that ain't real. Like, I got some stuff. I got some issues. So, like,
Hmm.
I'm happy to pay for somebody to come and do that. So I think those are questions that you need to ask, but you may want to wait till, like, the relationship is actually good for another 2 or 3 months,
Hmm.
and it's actually looking like it's going. Because I mean, it looks like that at the beginning, but you
Right.
still don't know for a couple of months. Is it really? Is this really? And then you can start having even some of those, more challenging, harder questions.
Yeah,
Um,
and see, and he may not even think that serious because a lot of men don't think that seriously. This is what Taylor's friend was even talking about today. And another guy, he's like 24, 25. Some of them are like, if their money ain't right, they're not even thinking about settling down, getting married. So
mhm.
who knows how long it's going to take him to rebuild? And if he's one of those people that it's like, hey, and good intentions, he may think, I want to make sure my money's right before I even go down this road. Like, how long is she willing to wait for that?
Yeah.
She
And
may
I
not be
think
willing.
that and I agree, like, but Taylor's friend is 20,
Yeah,
but
20.
they ain't 20. In the
Yeah.
grown-up table, most of the people we're older. So it's just like, if you meet someone that really could be, you're not really trying to let go of that. You just trying to, you
Yeah.
might slow walk it. You might slow walk it, but you're not trying to be like, because you don't know when that's, especially for women, you don't know if
Yeah.
that's gonna come around again or whatever. So
Yeah.
I would say, don't, because some people are like, oh yeah, you just need to dump him. And what I was just like, yo, do
Pause.
not do that. You don't
Right.
even know the fact that he's communicating. First of all, the fact that he had a successful business already. He not
Talk
just
about it.
ambitious. He not just dreaming. He doesn't just have potential. He has actually fulfilled potential already. So you
Yes.
already have evidence of that. So
Yeah.
the fact that he is rebuilding and rebranding because he had to take this side track that he didn't expect. I think there's a two commendable things. And
Yeah.
so I definitely ain't pushing him out the door until I see an actual red flag that is saying, oh, okay, yeah, nah, you know.
Yeah.
But I think, like you said, slow walk it, you know,
Hmm.
give both of you time to get to know each other more and help him, you know, he can focus on doing that. And then you can, you know, have those conversations. Let's see what
Yeah.
Chad is talking about. Yeah, he could take client. Let's see. He could be wondering the same thing about her as well and her money, and could that change?
True. Because she making all the money now, but who knows?
But the other thing that you said that I think is so important is that
Cassandra.
money can change. I made,
Hmm.
you know, because I made more money than most of the people that I ever dated, and um and now I don't. So, because if I make more money than him, we not going out. Like,
Yeah, it's a no for me.
we can't even afford to go out.
And the sad truth is, though, Lorraine, systemically, the women are making more because
Yeah.
they let us get the jobs and get them. We have the most education, and so
Mhm.
you're going to find that a whole lot. But this is why there are a lot of women 40 plus in church single, because you know, they secured the bag, and then they wanted the guy that was 6 feet tall, 6 figures, with six pack, and he never came, or he showed up to church but he just had his wife on his arm already. So a lot of people are sitting there still single, um, because of that. They had the jobs, they had the money, but the guy didn't, and so
Mhm.
putting the bag before the
Yeah.
character is never a good thing.
Never a good thing. Well, folks, those were all of the questions that we had. We thank you all. We know it broke up there a little bit, so I hope that, you know, you all caught that. But we made it this far, so that was good.
Yes,
um,
it was good. Yeah.
let's see.
Woohoo.
That was a great conversation. So we are also, like, this week we called it what did we call it? Love Unfiltered Live, but we are actually trying to think of a name for our live show that comes on Friday, on the fourth Tuesday. So if you got some cool names, you know, drop it in the chat or leave it in the comments. Next week we are talking about why smart women ignore red flags and how to stop doing that. So, despite our different opinions, our ultimate goal is to provide insight that puts up boundaries that keep you relationally safe. Rescue is reactive, wisdom is protective. And the more you choose wisdom, the less you will need saving. So, until next time, make choices that will help you live, love, and marry wiser. God bless.